20th August is World Mosquito Day. From IFPWD, we have a very interesting session today. Question and answers with Dr. Rajeev Roy. So the first question is, why are mosquitoes so important in medicine?
Mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have been in this world for several years, even before man came into existence. These mosquitoes are insects which can be called as vectors, which comprise about 3,500 species. Not all these 3,500 species cause diseases in humans. They bite humans and transmit several diseases. Few species are known to cause diseases in man. So, hence, it becomes a prime importance, especially in medicine, to know about these mosquitoes and thereby control them to prevent the spread of these deadly diseases. The deadly diseases cause harm to man. I still have a mosquito. These deadly diseases can cause harm to man by causing damage to property or damage to human beings in terms of manpower loss, healthcare costs, etc. So, control of these mosquitoes, preventing diseases caused by mosquitoes is of prime medical importance. And uh, this is one of the reasons why the World Mosquito Day is being uh, organized all around the world, so that we effectively control mosquitoes and thereby prevent the diseases spread by them.
I have heard about malaria and dengue caused by mosquitoes. Are there any others?
Malaria and dengue are the diseases commonly transmitted by mosquitoes. But in addition, there are several other diseases which are also equally transmitted by mosquitoes. These include diseases such as filariasis, chikungunya, Casino forest disease, and yellow fever. However, yellow fever is not present in India, but it is seen in other parts of the world, especially in Saharan and sub-Saharan regions. Malaria has been known for a very long time. Like Hippocrates has reported malaria in terms of a fever, namely as quashian, tertian, and 1 day and 2 day fevers. So this stresses the importance of the various diseases caused by mosquitoes. And the severity of these diseases can range from a mild to very severe one, which can even result in death. So, for example, malaria has got a simple malaria and has got a cerebral malaria, and it has got a fulminant malaria, wherein it is called a black water malaria, which even results in the death of the person. And similarly, dengue has got milder forms and it has got severe forms such as the dengue hemorrhagic fever. So the diseases caused by mosquitoes, though are several, they vary in severity depending upon the individual as well as in the area in which they are transmitted.
Is it true that mosquitoes can breed in fresh water?
Breeding sites of mosquitoes are those places where these mosquitoes lay their eggs and these subsequently develop into new mosquitoes. These breeding sites are important because proper control of these breeding sites enables control of mosquitoes. We generally have a popular view that breeding sites are usually in dirty water or in sewage water, but that is not true, because the vectors of malaria, namely the Anopheles species, generally tend to breed in freshwater collections or in overhead tanks. So the urban malaria vector generally breeds in overhead tanks, and the other vector of dengue, namely Aedes, tends to breed in natural collections of water, so like containers which collect rainwater. So it is important to know the breeding sites of mosquitoes to enable effective control of the diseases transmitted by mosquitoes. Popular breeding sites, especially in an urban area, include overhead tanks, natural collections of water, the water which collects in your refrigerator, behind your refrigerator, the water which collects behind your air conditioning vent, the water which we pour in the plant, which collects in beneath the plant, water in sunshades. These are the sources of vectors, especially malaria in and Aedes in urban areas. So this breeding sites becomes a prime importance.
How are we going to protect ourselves and our families from mosquitoes?
How do I protect myself and my family from mosquito bites? Yes, that's a very valid question. Um Mosquito bites, first we need to know what are the timings when the mosquito bites. It is called mosquito dynamics. So usually they bite during the early mornings and during the late evenings. That is between 3 to 5 o'clock and between 6 to 8 o'clock. This is the period during which the maximum number of bites happen. And by avoiding this bite, meaning the man mosquito contact, we can reduce the diseases which are transmitted from mosquitoes to man. So this can vary from a various range of measures, such as wearing full sleeved dresses, by using various mosquito repellents, by using mosquito nets, and it can also be done by doing something called an indoor spraying, wherein we spray insecticides. We have a lot of commercially available mosquito repellents, which can be used either electrically or which can be man used with the help of a heated device, or it can be like burnt. In rural areas, they have a habit of burning the neem leaves, which creates a lot of smoke. It also tends to drive away the mosquitoes. So we also have like protective house protecting devices, like using of a shielding screen, or some people use mosquito nets. And recently we have something called like the insecticide lined mosquito nets, ILN nets we call it as. So ILNs, which is like the insecticide gets coated in the layer of mosquito, and when the mosquito comes and sits on it, it naturally gets killed. So these are the various ways by which we can protect ourselves and as well as our family from the bites of mosquitoes, and thereby protect us ourselves from the various diseases which are being transmitted by mosquitoes.
Is this lockdown going to have an impact on mosquito bites?
The current pandemic situation has necessitated lockdown, which is likely to increase the diseases caused by mosquitoes. So this can happen in two ways. So one is mainly on the public health aspect, and other is based on the daytime biters. So the Aedes mosquito, which are generally called the daytime biters, which bite during the daytime in comparison to Anopheles, which are early morning and late evening biters. So these daytime biters, namely the Aedes, do so because they tend to rest indoors, especially on the roofs and near the ceiling, and they tend to bite when the person rests in the daytime. With lockdown coming into effect, most of us are having a work from home concept, and students are having home based schooling. So in such scenarios, the chances of man mosquito contact becomes more, and chances of Aedes mosquito biting the man are more. On the other hand, because most of the public health activities are concentrated towards the control of the pandemic, the chances of mosquito control measures becoming more effective is on the lower side. So, as more personnel are required to do the mosquito control measures, such as spray spraying, etc., especially in terms of dengue control measures and malaria control measures, there might be a setback because of the current pandemic situation, which needs a lot of manpower and resource pooling into the control of the epidemic, and consequently the malaria control measures and dengue control measures becomes less concentrated.
Is poverty and underdevelopment the reason for increase in disease caused by mosquito bites? If so, then does that mean the developed countries don't have those diseases?
Are mosquitoes seen only in underdeveloped countries, and is poverty a reason for mosquitoes? I mean to say then it is a no, because recently there is something called urban malaria, wherein the mosquitoes start breeding even in developed spaces. For example, we have construction sites, and we have a lot of new buildings coming up, new projects coming up, and this malaria in these areas is called Project Malaria. So India being a mixture of both developing as well as a part of it is developed, the chances of a mixture of both malaria are also common. So, and mosquitoes, where the population of mosquitoes started to increase, especially after the increase in agricultural practices, and as man started to invade into the spaces of the mosquitoes. So this means that India being having a agricultural background as well as development proceeding in one direction, definitely mosquitoes are going to be increased on the developing countries like India. So does it mean that developed countries like European countries and USA doesn't have mosquitoes? It doesn't mean like that. Again, mosquitoes are there. The main difference is the public health measures prevailing in India and the public health measures prevailing in developed countries, and public health measures prevailing in the other areas. So the public health measures in India are difficult to implement because of the inappropriate garbage disposal, which causes a lot of empty containers to come, and that collects rainwater, and this forms a breeding place for mosquitoes. Whereas in developed countries, this doesn't happen because there is a proper garbage disposal, inappropriate disposal of plastic cups, etc. are reduced to quite a great extent. So behind me you can see how garbage is being inappropriately disposed, and this plastic covers can collect water, especially during rainy season, and this collected water can act as a source of breeding, especially for Aedes mosquitoes, which spread dengue.
How do we control or eliminate mosquitoes? Is it possible?
Coming to control of mosquitoes, there was two questions in this part. Like, one is whether how do we control mosquitoes and how do we eliminate mosquitoes. So next comes the question: is there any country which has eliminated mosquito? Yes, there are several countries which have eliminated. Sri Lanka is one among them which has nearly eliminated the mosquitoes, and mosquito-borne transmission of diseases has been eliminated in Sri Lanka. That's a very good thing. So, which is one of the priorities of WHO under the neglected tropical diseases. So next, like, how do you control mosquitoes? Mosquito control can be done at various stages. So like, you can either control the development of the larvae. You can convert, there are various stages in the development of mosquito, like larvae, pupa, and the adult stage. So you can either control in the adult stage, or you can control at the larva stage. So once the pupa stage develops, it really becomes difficult to change into the it is very difficult to control progressing it into the adult stage. The one drawback of mosquito control measures is, for example, there are certain mosquitoes which breed in clean water. For example, Anopheles breeds in the clean drinking water present in your overhead tanks. So in which case, the chemicals or pesticides which you are going to put should not cause any change in the color or cause harm to the drinking water. So this becomes a very big responsibility, especially of the public health personnel. So there are various chemicals which have been used currently, and there are various methods, like you have a physical method, you have a chemical method, you have even biological methods, wherein certain viruses and bacteria and fishes are fed into the ponds, and these can feed upon the larvae and thereby destroy them. So there is also something called genetic methods, wherein you introduce a technique called sterile male technique, wherein the mosquitoes are genetically modified and they are released into the environment, and these upon mating with their female counterparts produce offspring which do not generate into adult ones. Okay, so this has been practiced in certain developed countries like Singapore, Australia, etc. And in India, we have this fish called gambusia, the common guppy fish, which can be used to prevent larval breeding, especially in ponds. This is like applicable in low resource settings, especially in the rural areas. Various types of chemicals like Paris green, etc., are also available, which can act as a larvicide. And for adult mosquitoes, we have the space sprays. Even the public health department works on it by applying space sprays applications in large areas, grounds, open space, especially to prevent mosquito breeding.
Chemicals used in mosquito control, are they harmful to me or environment?
Oh, that was awful. Sprays like this, are they harmful when used? Yes, definitely they are harmful. But in the quantity which we use, they might not seem harmful. Especially the space sprays which we use, it is like alethrin and diethrin, permethrin. So all these are considered to be synthetic pyrethroids, which are considered to be a much safer alternatives compared to the previously used insecticides such as DDT. DDT is currently banned in India because of the severe environmental pollution it has caused. But even then, there are several other pesticides which are used, though in the quantities used they might not harm humans, they definitely cause harm to other organisms. And as far as space sprays are concerned, many of them develop allergies, especially to coils, mosquito coils, and the indoor repellents, mosquito repellents. Most of them develop allergic reactions. So when asked whether it is harmful or not, it is definitely harmful, but we need to see the risk-benefit ratio. So whether the risk we take and the benefit we get out of preventing mosquito-borne diseases, which can cause severe mortality and morbidity. So based upon that, the environmental the agencies which are working with the environment in all over the world are continuously monitoring these space sprays, and of late synthetic pyrethroids are considered to be much safer, and they cause less harm to the environment. It doesn't mean that it doesn't cause harm. It definitely causes harm, but the extent it causes is much less compared to the previously used insecticides.
Mosquito is invading man's space, or man is invading mosquito's space?
Man invading mosquito space or mosquito invading man space. Yes, that could be a debate. To me, it is in both ways, because as man started to develop, he ventured into areas which were not previously inhabited by man, so the forest covered areas. So this led to man-mosquito contact, and as a result several new diseases started to occur. One example is typical is the Chiasano forest disease, so which was typically found among monkeys, and once man started to invade the forest, mosquitoes which were biting monkeys started to bite man, and subsequently he started developing. Another example is the Zika virus. So all these are examples of man invading mosquito space and subsequently developing the mosquito-borne diseases. On the contrary, mosquito invading man space is also happening. So, for example, there was one incident cited wherein the cause of dengue was attributed to mosquitoes traveling between districts through the bus. So with increase in the transport facilities, a person can travel thousands of kilometers within a few hours. So similarly, along with the person, a mosquito can also travel. Okay, so this leads to introduction of new diseases in places which were already not there. So hence, again, mosquito starts to invade man's space by traveling along with them. So areas which have never seen diseases before, with the advancement, with the development, with the westernization, with modernization, there has been an increase in the spread of those diseases transmitted by bite of mosquitoes in those areas which have previously not seen those diseases.
Mosquito nets or vaporizers, which should be used by us?
Okay, next you might be wondering, what are these? So what is the best mosquito repellent which I can use? Whether is it a
mosquito net, or whether it is a coil like this, or it is like a vaporizer like this, or it is a space spray like this. So it all depends upon. See, certain people are allergic to these mosquito coils which produce enormous amount of smoke. So, but the main advantage of this is that it's economical, and it can be used especially in open areas where you don't have electricity. So the vaporizer like this requires electricity, and it produces a mild vapor kind of form which percolates inside the room, and it stuns the mosquito. So you need to really keep your doors open before switching it on, so that it drives all the mosquitoes out. And sprays like this can immediately knock off the mosquito, but these tend to have a pungent odor and can be allergic to some. Mosquito nets are a very effective way of preventing man-mosquito contact, but mosquito nets needs to be properly used, and so that there is no space while lying down, and the mosquitoes don't enter and get trapped inside the mosquito net and keep constantly biting you rather than protecting you. So nowadays there are recent advanced mosquito nets called ILNs. These are called insecticide lined mosquito nets. So these insecticide lined mosquito nets have a longer shelf life. They can be used for up to a year, and they can be washed, and the mosquito nets are impregnated with the insecticides, so which are like pyrethrum, synthetic pyrethroids, and once a mosquito comes into contact with these mosquito nets, they die. So this is one. Whether should I use mosquito? Many of them can use a combination, and it all depends upon individual preferences. So nowadays they have, especially for children, you have the rub-ons, roll-ons, which can be used even on the clothing. So ideal thing is, I advise children whenever they are going outdoors to wear full-length clothes, and wherever possible, use some form of mosquito repellents. Either it may be in the form of a spray, it may be form of a rub, or it can be in the form of a coil, or it can be in the form of a vaporizer, and it can be a combination, and it depends upon individuals' practices. There is no single method which is considered as the best one. So it is usually a combination. Thank you.